Now, we were going to get some feedback. The country continues to react to what happened in Kansas with the defeat of a pro-life constitutional amendment. What does this mean for the pro-life cause moving forward? Joining me now to provide his perspective is Chuck Donovan. He's the president of the Charlotte Lozier Institute and a man who's been at the forefront of this fight for decades. Chuck, welcome to Washington Watch.
It's an honor to be with you, Joseph. Thank you.
We are glad to have you, and tell us your reaction to Kansas, but very specifically, what do you think we should be learning from this moving forward?
Well, Joseph, any loss like this is painful. We knew going in that it was going to be close. It was a complicated constitutional battle because we were dealing with a Supreme Court decision from Kansas that took this out of the voters' hands just 3 years ago. And so there was an attempt to restore it to the voters or legislators' intent, but that made it possible for opponents of pro-life to characterize whatever would happen as being the most adverse situation or extreme as possible. And I do think the pro-life movement has to learn from defeats. We have to learn as much or more as we do from victories. We've been at this a long time, and we're not going to go from 63 million abortions to none overnight. And Kansas tells us that we've got to fight for every vote. I don't think it's a predictor of what will happen this fall, but we'll see.
Chuck, to that point, with the overturn of Roe versus Wade, abortion becomes a state issue. This is, of course, an improvement that the people even get to have a say. But what do you think, what's the tactic, what's the strategy? How does the pro-life movement advance in a post-Roe world in these local debates?
Well, I think, we're going to have to keep on our messaging. We're going to have to be much clearer about what it is we want the law to do. We've had a situation recently where I think we've had some summer soldiers and sunshine patriots among some erstwhile friends. They're still our friends, but they're being less willing to say what they want the law to be. There's a great pull to the status quo. People don't necessarily know what Roe meant, how sweeping it was. It's our side that's got to remind the American people that it means abortion legal till birth, publicly funded. It means Senator Warren attacking and trying to close pregnancy health centers. On the other hand, the American people are in a mode right now where violence is increasingly tolerated. We see it on our streets. We see it in our politics. We see it in our rhetoric. Abortion has taken a toll on the American mind. And I think Americans may be disbelieving that we can be life-affirming and hold things together. So I hope our messaging will stay positive and patient.
And Chuck, to that point, in about a minute, it's been 50 years since Roe. Where do you think America is going to be on the issue of Roe in 50 years, of abortion in 50 years?
Well, Joseph, I'd like to be optimistic. I think obviously the decisions we make now will have tremendous impact. We have population decline all over the world. We have China even and Japan panicking over the lack of people to comfort the elderly and be in families. I wish I knew. I also have the attack on genetics. For example, we are facing real questions about screening human beings for quality and other things that can radically change the nature of a human being. All I know is if we don't engage, we won't have a future we like.
That's exactly right, and we will engage. Chuck Donovan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joseph.